Welcome back to today's Explainer. We're going to methodically unpack a chilling series of unexplained events that will literally leave you questioning the reality of what you see. We're looking at a case inspired by multiple unexplained disappearances across India, and it's a story that perfectly blends concrete, verifiable digital evidence with circumstances that are, quite frankly, seemingly impossible. We're going to analyze the recordings, we'll track the timeline, and we'll look at a final bizarre discovery that to this day remains totally unexplained.
So what really happened in room 307? That's the ultimate question we're exploring today, as we break down the known facts of a disappearance that absolutely defies all logic. You know, when we look at cases like this, it is so easy to get lost in the rumors and the internet theories, but today we are strictly focusing on the verified timeline and the physical evidence left behind. Because we have to ask ourselves, how does a person just cease to exist without a fight, without a drop of blood, and without a single frame of exit footage?
At the center of our case is Arav Deshmukh. He was a 22-year-old engineering student in his final year. By all accounts from the source material, Arav was a quiet, highly intelligent guy, but notably, he had this really deep fascination with urban legends and abandoned places. He was just traveling by himself to attend a project seminar when his journey was abruptly cut short.
Part 1. The Midnight Disappearance. So, picture this. It's the middle of the night, there's a heavy storm pouring down, and it forces Arav to pull off the highway to seek shelter at the old Hotel Shalimar Residency in Maharashtra. Now, this was an old roadside hotel, and on this specific rainy night, it was basically empty. You've got one receptionist on duty, one elderly security guard, and literally only 3 occupied rooms in the entire building.
Right off the bat, things get weird. Arav asks the receptionist a super unsettling question. Why are all the windows covered from the outside? According to the receptionist's later statements to the police, Arav looked visibly anxious when he asked this. But, the receptionist just kind of laughed it off and handed him the key to room 307 at exactly 10:42 p.m. But Arav's anxiety? Yeah, that was just the beginning. Part 2. The CCTV timeline. In any investigation, CCTV is the closest thing we have to objective truth, right? Well, in this case, the cameras recorded a sequence of events that just makes the mystery so much deeper. We've got a literal ticking clock here, tracking Arav's increasingly strange behavior. Just 30 minutes after check-in, at 11:13 p.m., the footage shows Arav coming right back downstairs. He's completely barefoot, he's holding his phone flashlight, and he is repeatedly asking the staff, who keeps knocking under the floor. The guard actually noted that Arav seemed totally obsessed with a locked basement door near the kitchen, even though they kept telling him it was just some unimportant storage area. Fast forward to 1:26 a.m., and the CCTV catches Arav secretly sneaking his way toward those exact basement stairs. 11. That is the exact number of minutes the security cameras inexplicably cut out after Arav headed toward that locked basement. 11 minutes of total darkness in the surveillance record, and when the feed finally popped back on, he was gone, just vanished without a trace. Investigators scoured every inch of that footage. No exit footage of him leaving the building, no footage of him on the stairs, just nothing. And the crucial point is what happened next. At 2:03 a.m., the elevator suddenly kicks on and operates entirely on its own. It goes up and opens on the 3rd floor. The footage completely confirms nobody entered the elevator in the lobby and nobody exited it on the 3rd floor. Yet, the internal weight sensor of that very elevator detected exactly 2 occupants. 2 invisible passengers taking a ride to the 3rd floor in the dead of night. Crazy, right?
Part 3. The 3:17 a.m. voice note. Okay, so the physical trail went completely cold. But you know how it is. Data usually finds a way out. In the middle of the night, long after the cameras failed to capture where Arav went, a message was sent from his device.
At exactly 3:17 a.m., Arav's mother gets a WhatsApp voice note from his number. The recording is exactly 19 seconds long. The source describes the audio as starting with this heavy static, followed by really heavy breathing, and then you can hear Arav's voice whispering this absolutely chilling phrase, "Ma, there's another floor under the basement." And right underneath his whisper, you can make out the faint echoing sounds of metal scraping. And if that wasn't disturbing enough, as that 19-second recording plays out, another voice suddenly pops up in the background. It's described as deep, heavily distorted, and almost mechanical sounding. It whispers this exact warning: he wasn't supposed to open it. Immediately after that voice speaks, the audio captures a loud bang, followed by the super distinct, heavy sound of a wooden chair dragging across bare concrete. And then, just dead silence.
The police naturally seized on this digital breadcrumb. They definitively traced the IP and the cell tower ping of that message directly to the inside of the Shalimar residency. But when morning rolled around and they initiated a full search of the building, the actual physical phone had seemingly vanished along with Arav. The digital ghost of the message was there, but the hardware was completely gone.
Part 4. The Hidden Basement Room. 3 days later, the investigation kicks into high gear. Forensic teams return to the hotel to execute a massive, top-to-bottom sweep of the premises. They obviously focused all their attention on that area Arav was so obsessed with on the CCTV, the basement storage area. And hiding behind some dusty, old shelves, they made a massive, paradigm-shifting discovery. They uncovered a second metal door, totally covered in rust and locked securely from the outside. They breached it, and inside was a narrow, windowless underground bunker. No furniture whatsoever. Instead, it just contained piles of old wires, broken cassette records scattered all over the floor, and, most disturbingly, dozens and dozens of dates handwritten directly onto the bare concrete wall.
14. The true, chilling reality of this room set in when investigators started running those handwritten dates through police databases. They quickly realized every single date scribbled on that concrete wall perfectly matched a missing person report filed from the nearby highways over the last 14 years. It was literally a ledger of disappearances, hidden right beneath the floorboards of a quiet roadside hotel.
But here's the absolute smoking gun of this entire investigation. Guess what they found lying in the dusty corner of that terrifying basement room? The police recovered a physical hotel room key, specifically the key to room 307, the exact key that the receptionist handed to Arav at check-in. It had somehow made its way from his hands all the way down into this locked, hidden chamber.
Part 5. The Room 307 Paradox. This undeniable physical evidence, that key found locked inside the basement, leads us directly into our final, impossible revelation about the Shalimar residency. I mean, we've got a timeline, we've got audio evidence, and we've got the physical key itself. But the facts of the building tell a completely different, paradoxical story.
Investigators take this key to room 307 back upstairs and confront the hotel manager with the discovery. And the manager gives them a statement that literally stops the investigation in its tracks. He just looks at them and says, "That room hasn't existed since 2012. He set up a contradiction that completely defies all logic of space and time within that hotel.
So we are stuck with this massive paradox. On one hand, you have the undisputed physical hotel register from the night of September 17th, with Arav's actual signature signing him in to room 307. But on the other hand, you have the official municipal building records. Years ago, a massive fire destroyed the original third floor of the hotel, and during the reconstruction, room 307 was permanently removed. Officially, structurally, it no longer existed. So where in the world did Arav sleep that night? The weight of the investigation, the missing persons ledger on the wall, and the impossible architecture all proved to be way too much. The Shalimar residency was forced to shut down just 6 months later. Today, the building stands completely abandoned near the highway. Yet, the local legends have only grown. Truck drivers passing by long after midnight frequently report seeing a faint light glowing from a third-floor window, radiating from a floor that official records prove doesn't even exist anymore.
So we are left to wonder, what actually happened to Arav Deshmukh? Did his fascination with abandoned places lead him to uncover a hidden, 14-year crime ring operating out of that basement? Did the total isolation and the heavy storm trigger a severe psychological breakdown? Or is it possible he simply checked into a room that was no longer on the map and paid the ultimate price for opening a door that was meant to stay locked? Trace the timeline, weigh the evidence, and ask yourself, if you were alone and heard knocking from beneath the floor, would you investigate? Thanks for joining me on today's Explainer, and as always, keep questioning what you see.